Bound for Glory went down last night. Here we are asking ourselves, well, what just happened? I'm here to tell you everything, give you the 411. We had the pre-show countdown of Bound for Glory opened up with Ash Battle against Heather Reckless taking on Brinley Reese and Zaya Brookside. And for me, the outcome was never in doubt. Ash and Heather won. Like I said, this is probably getting them ready to challenge for the Knockouts Tag Team titles. Then we had the Hall of Fame inductions with Bob Ryder being inducted by Eric Young and Rhino being inducted by Tommy Dreamer. And lastly, on the pre-show, we also had the Call Your Shot Gauntlet, and the winner of this match gets a championship match anytime, any place, anywhere that they want. And this was won by Frankie Kazarian, who was number one. Again, for me, the winner was never in doubt. So we move on to the main card, and we opened up with the X Division Championship as Mike Bailey was defending against Hijo del Vikingo, and there didn't need to be any build for this match. This was an absolutely fantastic match. Bailey's championship was never in jeopardy, but this was just good. He got the win. This worked. This worked. Mike Bailey knows what he's doing, so Vikingo's coming back for injury and looked good. Then we had the Knockouts Tag Team titles with Spitfire defending against Rosemary and Wendy Choo. And again, the winner was never in doubt. Spitfire won here. I just don't think we're going to see any championships being put on NXT people, and NXT championships being put on TNA people. You got to do something to get the titles to make them feel more important, but ultimately this was a fine match. Rosemary turned on Wendy Choo, which I didn't like. I thought they worked well together. Rosemary needs more. Choo needs more. Next up, we had Steve Maclin versus Josh Alexander, and this was good. This was a nice little blood feud and things. This might have been the best wrestled match on the card, as these two really work well together. Maybe some shenanigans here and there, but ultimately Steve Maclin won, Josh Alexander won as he passed out from the ankle lock. I really didn't see this one coming, as I really thought Josh Alexander was going to lose here, but he's putting on these efforts. I think he's going to ultimately do the job as he makes his way out. Then we had the International and TNA Digital Media Championship on the line as PCO was defending against Cardona in a Monsters Ball match, and this was just a violent affair with PCO ultimately getting his revenge. This was just a paint by the numbers match, and they really didn't do anything outlandish here. The funny part was Cardona coming out in a Ghostbusters outfit, because PCO is just the undead monster, but this was fine. This was good. Then we had Mike Santana versus Moose. This was also good here, but I didn't think the result would really work here. That's what I'm really getting at. I see we get the push for Santana, and Moose can suffer the loss here. Santana wins. He's going to be put in line for a championship match. I thought this was really good. Then we had the Knockouts Championship with Jordynne defending against Masha Slamovich. And for me, like I said earlier in the Howard Wrestling Podcast, the winner here was also never in doubt. I really wholeheartedly ultimately believe that Masha Slamovich was going to win here, and she was going to walk away with the championship. This is a match of powerhouses, and finally, Masha gets that big win over Jordynne Grace. These two work really well together, and I could, be fine with them going for one more match. I just think Jordynne Grace is really on her way out, and she'll be in the WWE sooner rather than later. Then we have the TNA World Championship, which is not the main event matches. Joe Hendry was defending against Nic Nemeth, and Frankie Kazarian somehow, some way was the special guest referee. I was really upset here. I thought that Joe Hendry was going to win, but the shocker was GBL playing a role here. He had showed up before in TNA, but he ultimately got involved here. So if we go to the end of the match, everybody's down except for Kaz, and Kaz, listen, he called the match down the middle up until this point, and he was like, well, they're down, let me call my shot, you know what I mean? And as before a ref could come out here that start the match, JBL came in, gave him a clothesline from hell, and then he gave Joe Hendry a clothesline from hell. And then a third to take out Ryan Nemeth, Nick's brother. Nick may have not seen what happened, but he hit the danger zone. Ref counted to 2. He hits another super kick and then another danger zone. 1, 2, 3. So I don't know what the plan is here, but JBL cost Joe Hendry the TNA World Championship. You really got to give him time. This reminds me shades of Bound for Glory. Oh man, I want to say 03 or let me check the date. It reminds me of Bound for Glory 2011 when they refused to pull the trigger. They, meaning Hulk Hogan, refused to pull the trigger and put the championship on Bobby Roode as he was taking on Kurt Angle. This just did not make any sense having Joe Hendry lose here. Yes, we got to say let the story play out, but this ended up being about JBL. We cannot have that. Genesis, the next pay-per-view, I believe, going down in January. No, Genesis is not the next pay-per-view. What is the next TNA pay-per-view? Genesis, yeah. Genesis, the next pay-per-view is going down January 19th, but they'll have some shows in between, obviously. But again, Joe Hendry losing here didn't make sense. Then we had the main event, which was the System defending against the Hardys and ABC in a Full Metal Mayhem match, aka tables, ladders, and chairs. And once again, you knew it was coming. As soon as the Hardys was announced for this match, you knew they were winning. As soon as they announced it was this Full Metal Mayhem, you could have guaranteed that they were winning. This wasn't that great. I've seen better Full Metal Mayhem matches in TNA. For some reason, the ring was painted like the Hardys, the ropes, ladder. It was just weird, but the Hardys ultimately won this match to get one last tag team reign, and it was fine. We'll see what goes here. Ultimately, I don't think this was a great Bound for Glory. I'm going to give it a 7 out of 10, and I think the match of the night for me is probably Josh Alexander versus Steve Maclin. Let me know what you guys think. That is what just happened. Come back this week for what we got going down on the High Rise Wrestling Podcast, as we have, I think, Crown Jewel is this week. I'll see you when I see you. Peace.